I am so happy to have you on today. How are you, bro?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. We're all holding up. And that's the big question nowadays everyone's asking.
How are we
How are
really?
we all holding up? How are you really doing? So
Exactly.
talk to me about what gets you by, bro. Like what's making your days pass?
Well, I must say, I kind of have an unfair advantage because the way that my life has been structured for most of my life has been like on and off time. Either I'm on the road and it's just, like 24/7, or I'm making a record and it's 24/7. And then I have my off time to just collect, regroup, get creative, refuel out of creativity during that time and stuff like that. So I have a lot of experience making the best of social distancing and isolation. Like, chose to, like, I often choose to do it like this. I feel for the people who are not so well suited. And my heart, of course, goes out to everybody. But I've been able to make the best of it, been creating lots of stuff. Um, yeah, man, just get to chill out. I'm in Nashville. Where are you?
I'm in Vegas, and you use the
Oh,
word creativity. And that's what I
yes.
tell everyone to do right now. Hit the reset button, go back to things that you liked, whether it's like you want to learn Taekwondo or piano. You could do all those things right now. And if
Total nice
you're
Cobra Kai shirt, by the way. I like
Thank
that.
you,
It's a-
brother. We're gonna go there real soon, dude. That's one of my favorite shows. And bottom line is, like, reconnect with old passions, or if you're a passionate artist, such as we are, musicians and whatnot, or podcasters or whatever,
yeah.
take the time to connect with people and have the best experience you can with these people, because that's gonna get us by. That's what I tell everyone. And I had your wonderful stepdad on the other day and your amazing mother, and they have that same energy that you have, that I have. It's just like we're all trying to get by and stay positive. So,
Exactly. Positivity is very important.
absolutely. So, talking about music, I would love to
Hmm.
know about your music background, because I've done a deep dive into your playing career, and I love
Right
how
on.
soulful you are, dude. You're
Thank
very
you.
soulful. Excuse me, very soulful, and also I love that you bring in blues incorporation, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
For sure, that's the kind of core of my musical foundation, I should say, is blues, and it always has been. It's and then when I went into studying music, I have a degree in ethnomusicology, which is world music studies, and one of the things that I realized is the heart of all music is the heart of the blues. It all comes from Africa, and like the guitar parts, like uh, artists like Ali Farka Toure and King Sunny Ade and Hamza Eldin and people like that. You hear this blues in their playing, but it's traditional, in some cases ancient music, and so I feel like it's a real fundamental thing for me, but it is in music in general.
You know what? I could not agree more with blues being probably the biggest influence of just rock and roll in general. I mean, jazz obviously
Exactly.
has a lot to do with it, but the
Yeah.
blues had that soul, that passion. And where jazz is more spontaneous, with the blues, there's structure to it. There's the verse, chorus, there's the bridge, there's the guitar solo, there's the lyrics. In most cases, some jazz doesn't even have lyrics. And
Yep.
blues gives you that kind of like, bookend, it's very cohesive. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things going on in the composition, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of rock and roll, metal, reggae, rap, hip hop, everything.
Yep.
And I thought your music style was very well fitted when you did the Sons of Anarchy. Uh,
Thanks, dude. Yes.
One of my
What
favorite
a
shows of all
pleasure that
time. Can
was.
we talk about that? Yes, let's talk about
Yeah. Of
it.
course.
What was your experience like
Oh
on the
man,
Sons of
dude!
Anarchy?
Oh, it was such an honor to be able to. I had four songs in total on featured on the show, and some were more prominent than others, but they all had a real bluesy or like a gospel, folk, rootsy vibe to them. Each one, and they were all different from each other. Some like aggressive electric guitar. One of them was called "Hero in Hell," and it's acoustic, totally acoustic. I think just like acoustic guitar, vocal, and maybe some piano I put on there or something. But amazing, and I love working. Like it's my passion to create music, and to have somewhere for it to go, to have a companion, someone who goes, oh, you know what, I'm going to give this music a beautiful home and feature it and present it in a beautiful way. That's such a cool thing for me. So I'm fortunate. I get to experience that a lot.
You know, I could tell you're very passionate and very enthusiastic about music, and I am too. So, like I told your parents last week, you know, real recognizes real, and that's how I feel with you right now. I can tell you're real passionate about music. Now, you worked with some of my favorite musicians.
Yeah,
the percussion master, Lenny Castro, who
worked bro.
Worked with Toto alongside one of my favorite drummers in Jeff Porcaro. I personally know Bobby Kimball from Toto really well. I've done music with him, and I'm doing more music with him. Wonderful guy. What was it like to work with Lenny Castro?
Lenny is one of my favorite people in the world. I love him so much. He played Kabasa and a couple other things on one of my records, and then he used to come and play, like, join the band live with me sometimes. So it was unbelievable because, you know, he's also Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Wonder. Like, it was just, that guy can go all the way to the depths. And he's the sweetest, funniest, just most energetic, loving man. I love him very much. Shout out to Lenny Castro.
Absolutely. Shout out to Lenny Castro. That's what I love about the old school 70s and 80s musicians, because you would see them just network and be on so many different things. I mentioned Jeff Porcaro. I mean, Homeboy recorded, like, I think 2,000 albums, and that's no exaggeration. Worked with Madonna, Michael Jackson, you know, the list goes on and on. Steely Dan, like, holy smokes. Imagine what it would be like to be on so many decorated tracks from that era.
I know. It's amazing. It's an interesting and unique position to be in too, because, you know, historically so many of those players have been underappreciated, undercredited, undercompensated, certainly. You know what I mean? There's the whole Wrecking Crew and all those, the guys from the Motown era who, like, you know, boom, 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 boom. That was written by the guy who played it, and, like, that's the icon. That's as much of a hook in that song as any other hook in the song, you know? So it's an interesting world. Now it happens less and less, but here in Nashville, the world of live human session musicians is alive and well. The system is in place beautifully. There are a lot of tons of studios here and tons of people who have studio setups in their place.
You know, I really love to hear that. The camera froze up for, you got me there? Okay, awesome.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's not on your end.
Yep. Oh, no, it's okay. I was saying, like, you know, technology, so, like, it's taken some gigs away, but it's also made it possible for some, like, musicians to cut tracks from their house. Like, you know, if somebody sends me a track, I can put a guitar on it sitting right here right now while we're on the phone, you know.
It's interesting that you talk about technology and the benefits we have. You know, I just recorded records and did sessions for people, you know, all over the country and stuff like that, which I'm very fortunate for, from home, which is great, and it sounds authentic. But I love the old school cats, man, like the movie Cadillac Records, when they all sat in a room until they got it right. And you weren't in that room unless you were good, because if you were in that room, you had to be able to nail it down. Because if you were the drummer and you weren't nailing it down and you were offsetting the vocalist, making the vocalist who may have gotten the track, you know, pretty comfortably, but then you're making them work and work and work over and over again, there's the door, son. You're out, you know.
Exactly.
So that's what I like about that era. Like, I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan, and I love that analog in-room sound. It's so big, and
me too.
I'm trying to achieve that.
That's where I started too, with my own. Like, when I first started recording, it was before Pro Tools, you know, and so I recorded all my first stuff to 2-inch tape, and as often as possible, I would have everybody in the room together. And some of those first recordings, it's Kaveh Rastegar playing bass, who's John Legend's bass player now, and Scott Seaver on drums for some of that stuff back in the days, like Pete Yorn, Tenacious D, Nate Wood, who, if you're not hip to, you need to check out Nate Wood and his Project 4, FOUR. It's just him. He plays bass, drums, and keyboards, and sings all at the same time with no loops, just sequences. It's unbelievable, dude. Yeah, I'll send you a link. You gotta
That
check it.
sounds wonderful. I can't wait to hear it. And speaking about, music that we're talking about here, I want to talk about your career. You had some solo albums of your own as well. I believe one debuted in 2004, if I'm
First
not mistaken.
EP that I released was 2004, and it was called Currently, and it was a little acoustic EP, and the single Currently was got some really cool attention at that time. I got some play on the radio and some really interesting placements on TV and stuff too for it.
Well, it certainly led you to some great points. Before the coronavirus, we all had great ambitions and dreams for 2020. And then they went
Yes,
and then they went down the tubes. But you were doing things with a great artist in Brett Young. Can you tell me about your experience with Brett?
Bro, Brett Young is the man. I love him so much and has become just a part of the family. We're one big family, and I've known him for a long time, watched him come up as a singer-songwriter and then move to Nashville and pursue country music and start off writing. And I saw his enthusiasm about, man, every day is another opportunity to write a song. And I saw his hunger to get that. He wanted that number one. Now he's had 6 in a row. He's only ever had a number one song that he has released as a single. So I've seen it pay off. And the fact that I get to be part of it is just extraordinary.
Yeah, my girlfriend's a big country rock fan. And it's funny because that's one thing that I was not really into until I moved to Vegas and moved in with her. Not that I had anything against it, because I always respect musicians. But I'm going to be quite frank here. When I started listening to the lyrics of country, because I'm a drummer by nature, so I'm always listening to music. I'm a Rush fan, Led Zeppelin fan. Those are my favorites. So I'm always listening to like the drums and the music. But when I realized country was about paying your bills, getting laid, getting drunk, I'm like, getting through life, blue collared. I'm like, you know what, man? I like this shit.
I like this, man. Well, here's the thing about country. The genre artistically is super broad. It's everything from hip hop to banjo. You know what I mean? And all in between. But the focus and the core integrity is about the song. You tell the story. You want the melody to be a part of what you're saying and to carry it across. It needs to be locked in tight, and it's so great. And there still is a great premium for real human musicians who are amazing at what they do, playing beautifully on records. So that's something that is alive and well in that's like kind of the only genre that still preserves that original session thing, the Porcaros and the Gads and all of it, just they're still those guys in country. It's really cool, man.
You certainly know your drummers. Mentioned Steve Gadd, one of my favorites, Neil Peart, Rush, Stewie Copeland, Police, Art Blakey for jazz is my guy. I love throwing on jazz records, and man, the feel and how ahead of their time they were with technique. And that's what I tell everyone about drumming, is that go back to the old rudimental style, like the Buddy Rich.
Right.
Use it in small doses, know when to use it. But that's how you get that Stewie Copeland hi-hat articulation, or Carter Buford from Dave Matthews, all that bell work and all that beautiful articulation, because you could play busy, but play subtly busy and have it have character and give the song life, That's what I always look for in a characteristic of a drummer. So let's talk about some favorite musicians. Who's some of your favorite guitar players?
Well, for guitar players, you mean like of all time, like anybody in the whole world? I'm a big Jimi Hendrix guy. Like that's just like from my youth, from the very beginning. And then of course I got super into Stevie Ray Vaughan when I was younger too. And then when I started studying jazz music, I really loved Wes Montgomery's playing so much. There were a couple of lesser known guitarists, a guy named Link Chamberlain, who was just technically one of the most insane. He was a Slimsky pattern guy. Like he would run, he was just unbelievable, lightning speed, extreme precision. It was just an amazing guy. Passed away young from cancer, I think in his mid-30s. Another guy named Bobby Addison, who was another one, just speed and blind as well. But I listen to a lot of people who play different instruments, especially horn players. I got really into Bird, I got really into Charlie Parker and John Coltrane. And like
Yeah.
I got super into Dewey Redman and Eric Dolphy and Rahsaan Roland Kirk and a lot of those kinds of guys, the polyphonic reed playing guys. I love bass clarinet, so that was a big thing for me in jazz stuff. Eric Dolphy was such a great bass clarinetist. But drummer, for me, because I play everything. I say I play everything. There's certain things that I play significantly better than others, but I play numerous instruments, including a lot of world instruments that I learned through my ethnomusicological studies. But like the instrument that I kind of wish I played better than I am able to play it is the drums. And so I have forever idolized drummers. Deontony Parks is a man who you should know and listen to and follow and love. A dear friend, longtime friend, was the drummer for the Mars Volta for a time, plays with John Cale from the Velvet Underground. He and his production partner, Nikki Casper, scored Paul Schrader's last couple of projects. They did True Detective and stuff like that. Unbelievable music. He has a project called Techno Self. It's just him playing drums and keys, and it's unbelievable. There's no tracks, there's no loops, there's no sequences. It's just everything is happening live and it's all improvised, and it's extraordinary. I can't wait for you to check that out.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped.
Our drummer for Brett, Billy Hahn, who is amazing and has played with everybody. He used to be in Colby Calais' band for a long time. He toured a little bit playing percussion with me when I was opening for REO Speedwagon and Pat Benatar years and years ago. And now he's been Brett's drummer for years. That's a dude who started in drum corps, drum line. He can do all the stuff. He knows all the rudiments, all the fundamentals. And I cannot tell you how right you are. That's so right on. And it's true of anything. Break it down to the core. Get to the bottom of it. And that, then everything else will improve,
You said some great things there. First of all, first of all, you name dropped Johnny Coltrane, who is one of my favorite jazz artists of all time. Like the song Good Bait, amazing. Pat Benatar, the baddest woman, in my opinion, in rock and roll history.
Unbelievable.
The song Invincible. When you hear that song, you get pumped.
I know, it's like one after another after another. It's so crazy because they're like listening to the show, watching the show, you go, every song, you go, oh my God, that's right. This is her too. Like this one too. Oh, geez. It's crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Whenever you want to learn drums, brother, come hang out. I'll come by you. We'll rock out. I mean, you're a brilliant musician. I see that you play multiple amounts of different instruments. So I was going to ask you about the writing process. Do you start writing on piano or guitar or sometimes both, depending on the tone?
Yeah, it really all depends. I think I always look for unorthodox inspiration, like sources. I really feel that it comes from everywhere. You just have to like let go and accept it to reveal itself to you. And so I try my best not to create like a pre-existing situation. Like, well, here's like I write a song in this way and so on and so on. It's, to me, that's just too much expectation and setup ahead of time. Like if I have a guitar, it'll usually be guitar. Sometimes it'll start with a lyrical idea. Very often it starts with a melody. Most often recently, when it comes to songs that I've written, like a song that I could play for you on an acoustic guitar or a piano, just me, start as a complete improvisation. My goal, ideally, would be to have it come out completely without me getting in the way consciously at all. And then to figure out what I'm saying to myself, because the deepest lessons and the greatest understanding that I have found about myself has come from my songs, and especially those ones, because, and sometimes it doesn't make complete sense until years later, but it all comes from me. So it's gotta mean something to me, you know?
Yeah, man, you learn a lot from yourself about being a musician. You know, I play guitar and stuff like that, but for me, it's essentially drums. I'm 41. I've been playing for just about ever since I was like a teenager. And I love it. It's my passion. But what I love is that it makes my focus really strong and it helps me with conversation because of beats and stuff like that. Hand-eye coordination. I started playing sports and I was hitting baseballs out of the park because I was able to see them coming, you know. And, you know, I'm a big sports guy and I want to talk to you about some sports in a moment. But what I'd like to do right now is segue into some cameos because you're an artist. You also done some acting. I believe your first appearance was on Animal House when your mom was pregnant.
Yes, I didn't actually appear because I was. I was inside.
Considered a cameo, somewhat.
Human being, but well, absolutely. Oh no, I'll take it. I'll take it as a cameo, guest star. I'd say.
It should be on your film credits. You did Californication. Is acting something that you want to do more?
Acting is something that I love being able to do when I have an opportunity to do it in a kind of a pure form. I grew up around it so much that it's I don't know, I don't want to go into too much unnecessary detail about it, but for me, in terms of creative avenues, like music and creating music, that's something that I can do with nobody around. If there was no other person, it doesn't depend on anyone or anything. I don't even technically need an instrument. I don't even need a body. I can imagine music in my mind. To be an actor, to exercise your art and your craft, you are dependent on a slew of other people. It's virtually impossible to do what you do under any other circumstance. And for me, that's just not acceptable. That makes it like terminally unfulfilling. But when I have an opportunity to do it and it's pure and clean and I don't have to do all the dumb stuff that people, because people hold actors and celebrities in this really extreme high regard, you know, and so it's this sought after position, so people are willing to really humiliate themselves basically in order to be famous or to have that type of success. Think about the kind of stuff that people are willing to do just to be on TV. Eat a bucket of hair for $10 and it'll be on MTV once, you know, and that they'll be all too happy to do it. To me, that's what a lot of the acting world basically boils down to for me. It's like, here, do this humiliating thing, and maybe 1 in a billion chance you'll be rewarded for it. And what's the real reward anyway? And what's really happening anyway? You know, for me as an artist, it's like, I can just create anything, anytime, and
that's why I love the outlet of. My next question was going to be about sports and what you like, what kind of sports you like, but they're all performance, you know, categories: music, movies, sports. You got to perform. You got to be on your game. And your stepdad said something wonderful the other day. Nothing's given to you. You got to go out there and get it. I got goosebumps when I heard that. I was like, yes, Eric,
that's very true.
This is why you're my man, dude. And because he's down to earth, and that's how it is. You have to work yourself to get to where you're at. And you got to perform. Like, even if you have all the connections in the world, you know, you still have to step up. And because guess what? No matter what, you're going to leave the studio one day and you got to go live. And when you go live, that's the biggest test. How good is this person live? A theater actor knows it. A jazz musician or a normal musician knows it. And a football player or a boxer or a baseball player knows it. So speaking about sports, do you like any sports?
I do. I haven't followed, like, I'm not a sports statistics guy, but I was just having this conversation about this, like, because, you know, people assess their enjoyment of sports in numerous different ways. There's a lot of really interesting phenomena around it for me. Like, the fan mentality around sports is very interesting. Team mentality, competition, and appropriate competition settings for competition. For me, sports are an incredibly good example of healthy competitive behavior. You know what I mean? Not from the fans. Fans, to me, the fact that one fan is competitive against another fan doesn't make a lot of logical sense. To me, they have more in common than they have apart. They're both fans of the local team, and they're, you know what I mean? Like that's what right? It's because, but the teams themselves are in competition with each other, and they don't actually trample over each other and to take actual, violent action against each other, because it's a healthy way to do it. So
Absolutely.
I love sports for that reason. I grew up in LA, and so it was like Lakers. It was the 80s. Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then of course Kobe Bryant and Shaq and Spider-Man Sally and everybody. I mean, dude, the whole, like it was I grew up around that. And some of my friends and family are like sports fans. Brett, was a pro baseball player for a time. He was a pitcher, and then he got injured.
Dang,
Talk about the road. All of a sudden, here you go. Here's everything you've ever wanted.
Right.
Boom, gone. Now what are you gonna do?
How
talking
unfortunate.
about change of plans. Yeah, but look what he did with it. He really made it. He turned it into something beautiful. And it's the tour that we had been doing is called Chapters, and it's the whole tour of videos, and it tells the story. And a big part of the story is like us guys in the band too, and when we all met, and what when Brett was like struggling to try to earn a living doing acoustic covers and stuff like that, and then how it all comes full circle, and overcoming disappointment, being willing to roll with the punches. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what it is. You got to roll with the punches, and that's what we're all dealing with right now with this virus, is that we got to try to find ways to turn that negative into a positive. Try to reconnect with family and friends like I've been doing at home. Have great interviews with people such as yourself. You know what I'm saying? Have fun. Start talking to people a little bit more. Start being nicer to everyone. And that sounds like a hippie mentality, but that's the only thing that's going to get us through this, is to remain positive.
Totally.
So I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite part about being a musician?
I think my favorite part is the fact that I have autonomy and independence through my music as my creative outlet. It's one that where I don't depend on anyone or anything. I can and love to and feel extreme fulfillment by working in collaboration with people. That's a big part of my passion for music, but it's not dependent on that. I don't even need to be playing for, and I don't need an audience. I can enjoy music. I enjoy music sometimes even more without an audience, So that's what I love about it. That's what I love about it. I love that it's something that people treat like it's a necessity. They treat it like they need it like food, but it's not. It's not. Technically, but you do need it. It does something to you that you can't really explain. It heals, and it's a beautiful, amazing, profound art form, and I'm just really proud to be able to be a part of it and spend my life doing that.
Well, we have a nice audience here, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Would you be comfortable playing something on piano or guitar, a song you want to share with the audience?
Sure. Oh, dude, of course, man. No
Hell
problem.
yeah.
Let me I might actually take off the
you got it.
earbuds for that, though.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Yeah,
whatever makes you comfortable. I appreciate this. This is a gift for everyone.
Of course. Dude, let me think about what's a good, I think I've got a good song.
Great.
For the occasion. Talking about being in control of your own destiny by being willing to let go and allow your life story to tell itself. And it's called Inspiration, and the lyric is, you're looking for inspiration, you don't know where to find it, let it find you, and that's kind of the only way, I think. Hold on.
You got it, pal.
I just did just played this tribute for Chris Cornell, who I also had the honor of playing with. And I had this tune, Drop D, to sing Black Hole Sun.
Oh, wow.
Hold on, let me grab this guitar instead.
You got it, bud. You got it. Chris Cornell, man. Great artist.
That was my dude. All right, here. I think this is the guitar for us today. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take off the earbuds so that yeah.
Got it, buddy.
Yeah,
Brother,
man.
that was amazing.
Hold on, let me put this back on.
Brother, that was amazing, dude. That was fantastic, bro.
Now I can hear you again.
That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
My pleasure, dude.
Inspiring song, beautiful lyrics, and just a beautiful melody you came up with there on the guitar,
Thanks,
man.
man.
What kind of guitar are you playing there, buddy?
This is a Gibson J200 that I have had for a good long time now. Probably 15 years or so that I've had this one.
Now, we mentioned Cobra Kai. You would think I'm sponsored. But
I know. Look at that. Oh, my gosh.
it's one of my favorite shows. You did some music, if I'm not mistaken.
I did indeed. Fear does not exist in this dojo.
No, Sensei. I cannot wait for season 3. The cliffhanger.
Oh, dude. It's gonna be nuts. I hope I can have some more music on there because that was really cool. I'm again, child of the 80s and the 90s, the original Karate Kid with Macho and Marita. That is my childhood right there. That is my childhood.
What's your favorite one? Part 1 or part 2? Because with part 2 for me, it's one of those occurrences where I think the sequel's better than the original.
I can see how you could arrive at that conclusion. I loved the second one also. I mean, it was especially at the time and the age that I was at the time. You and I are the same age, I'm gathering. I don't know when your birthday is, but
41. Yep, 41.
Yeah, so I'm also 41. And so when that movie came out, it was like I felt like I was so in it, you know?
Yeah, it was so huge.
But for me personally, just as a work of art, that first movie is something so special. I mean, Pat Morita won an Academy Award for his role.
He was amazing.
He was amazing because the guy just sounds like he's from like Encino or something. It's like,
yeah, you buy that. That's really Mr. Miyagi.
Oh my god! Absolutely.
Everything about him.
Absolutely. That movie was incredible, dude. That movie's incredible. So I love them both, but I would go with one if I had to choose.
What I love about part 1 is that I don't think Miyagi gets hit with one strike in that entire movie, and also in the third one. But the second one, he takes one shot. I think it was the first time I'd ever seen Miyagi get hit. And I had Stan to correct it because I told my girlfriend we were revisiting the series. And I'm like, I don't think Miyagi gets hit throughout the whole 3 films. Wait, no, he takes one here. He took one. Wow. But I tell you what, Chicago's song on that movie for Karate Kid Part 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
I'm a knight shining on a long time ago. And then the thing. I love it, dude. I love it because I was super into martial arts when I was a kid. I started in Tang Soo Do when I was like 6, and then that's when I've had an opportunity to work with and study with some amazing people. When I was 12 years old, I was in a movie called 9.5 Ninjas. There was a parody of 9.5 Weeks, but it was like a ninja movie, right? I was 12. I was 11, I think, actually. And my scenes were opposite a guy named Gerald Okamura, who is, if you saw his face, you'd recognize him from every martial arts movie ever. And the guy is like incredibly well versed in many different martial art forms, including ninjutsu. Wow. And I was 12 years old, and I'm like, you mean I could study ninjutsu with a ninjutsu master? Yes, I will do that. So, I mean, I remember that dude taught me some stuff.
You know, it's funny. We're talking about martial arts movies, and I was telling this to your stepdad, Eric. Eric Roberts, the great actor, was in probably 2 of the greatest martial arts movies ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Best 1 and 2. And part 2, the stakes were so much higher. The fighting really holds up. The ending fight, when he goes in the casino with the Korean Olympic team and Philip Ree's got to be in that octagon, like would be early UFC looking thing, fighting practice. Like
It's
that is
amazing, man.
so cool. So
Yeah,
speaking
dude.
about, yeah. So moving on, what are you doing today, man? What's your plans for the rest of the day after I let you go here?
I am hanging. I've got I've been doing more like score work for film and television and trying to develop that more. I recently finished scoring a feature film. Film was directed and written by Dennis Dugan, who did Happy Gilmore and Saving Silverman and Big Daddy and Grown Ups and all kinds of very, very funny, awesome movies. Stars Diane Keaton and Jeremy Irons,
Awesome.
among others. Maggie Grace, Diego Boneta, Jesse McCartney, Elle King is in it, and then myself and my production partner Noah Needleman, who's also Brett Young's musical director and a longtime friend of mine. We scored the movie together, and the whole soundtrack. And Elle King, who is one of the most amazing artists alive, and possibly of all time, in my opinion. I think she's absolutely brilliant. Sings the songs. We do some stuff in duet together. I'm in the movie. She's in the movie. It's so
Great.
cool. And the whole experience was just so fun. And it's so wonderful that Noah and I are both just like, yeah, more, please. And as long as we're inside, we might as well rock it, you know?
I can't wait to see it and hear it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. What are you going to do the rest of the day?
Rest of the day, I'm going to chill out. I got some music I have to work on too, some things around the house to do. Trying to get back to normal. We're preparing to start to function again like human beings in terms of like maybe going out a little bit more, but of course, washing our hands. But
Sure, of course.
just chilling out, man, relaxing a little bit and catching up on some TV shows, some movies I've been wanting to watch. Like I mentioned before, I've been doing a lot of throwbacks to things I like. So I'm putting on like old school movies. And I think today I feel like a Goodfellas day. I think I feel like putting Goodfellas on.
Ooh, I love that idea. Bro, I was going to say, that's like something if you were talking advice of things to do in quarantine that are kind of like low stress. I just did the original, like the first 5 James Bond movies.
Yes.
And I had never seen them. And man, that is so cool. It's fascinating. And it's so cool. The music is amazing. And like, it's just crazy. Like it was so cool. So done that kind of thing. There are a lot of great, if you like books on audio or like courses, they have entire college courses. There's this whole series called the Great Courses from the teaching company, and I do a lot of those. You can find virtually any subject, and like it's like auditing a course at Stanford with an amazing professor. It's really, I highly recommend that. And if you have time, then why not learn something that you just have an interest in and see what how that impacts your life. Just why not, you know?
That's what I'm telling everyone. Like, even if it's not something you're going to reconnect with from the past of yesteryear, you could still find something new. Like everyone's, complaint as we get older. Oh, I'm in my 40s. I don't have the time to do this. Well, now you do.
Mm-hmm.
You have a little more time and desire mentally to kind of get your focus off the madness and concentrate on something positive, and this was a very positive experience today, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Dude, for me too, man. Absolutely. You are so awesome. And I love that we got connected through Eric and my mom. And it's just like, that stuff is so fun. We've done tons of interviews and stuff together. Those guys have been my biggest champions by far. I mean, I can't, support is an understatement. It's like weaponized support. It's like
they love you.
The nuclear weapon of support.
They love you so much. And as soon as we started the interview and they started talking about you, my brain went off. I said, I got to get this guy on. And then I started researching you, and I felt the connection to your music, your soulfulness, and your approach. And I watched you in interviews, and I said, this is a guy I can hang with. Because I always want to bring people on the show that are down to earth, cool, and can come on and relate, because the way I do things is a little different than a lot of what other people do. But that's just a natural tendency about my interviewing style. And I really appreciate you coming on. Can you please tell us where we can find your music, how we can follow you on social media?
Absolutely. I spend more social media time on Instagram than I do anywhere else. And my Instagram is @Keaton Simons. That's what it is for all the other ones too, except my official Facebook, which is at Keaton Simons Music. I have a website. I don't really know how to update it. And when I don't have like people who know how to do that, then like I apologize for my website. But iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, all of the above. I've got tons of music. If you put my name in Google, it comes. If you type my name in a text message, it'll create a hyperlink. You can find me anywhere.
That's what's up. And us with websites, guys, we're in our 40s. You know, we didn't grow up on this internet thing until halfway through our life. And nowadays we're all learning things like Zoom. And the big thing is, can you hear me? Can you see me? And then you got like 30 people on your screen. You're like, what is going on?
Oh,
it's insanity, but we're all.
And then the young people, it's not weird for them at all. No, and I get off of the thing and I go, oh my God, what a bizarre experience. And they're like, what are you talking about? I mean, it's so. And then the older you get, the lower the camera angle is. That's what that you got. Or it's this. That's most people over 50 is this FaceTime.
Yeah, because they don't understand.
So funny. It's so funny. It's just because they're looking at the other person. Because people under a certain age are looking at themselves, so they know exactly what they look like in the frame. If your grandparents are looking at you, you know?
You're so spot on, brother.
So funny.
It. Speaking about spot on, you were today. I'll talk to you in a few, brother. The show will be up within the next half hour.
Tons of love, man.
Tons of love to you back, brother. Yep, anytime.